Hello, this is Rod, appraiser broker. I have been an appraiser for over 34 years, certified appraiser for over 31 years, and also a real estate agent and associate broker in Utah, broker associate in Colorado. I'm the owner of coloradoforeclosures.com, utahforeclosures.com. These are some of my IDX websites, utahhorseproperty.com, lehihomes.com, and several others. So let me show you here. I am going to do a video here to show you how to get more out of your house and really hopefully get a higher appraisal on the home that you're selling. And I think one of the best ways to do this is to hire an agent who has also been an appraiser for a lot of years. I've been an appraiser for over 30 years. I've been a real estate agent for over 30 years. And right now I'm selling this home that I've got featured here on lehihomes.com. We originally listed this house for $212,000, got an offer on it that I countered, and they didn't accept our counter. So I recommended that we wait, and we got another offer. Of course, I feature it. I do a lot of open houses and put a lot of signs out to get people that might not be coming. And right now there's a lot of homes. There's a fair number of houses on the market, and the market's not quite as strong as it was a few years ago. But with the recent dip in interest rates, this is today is what, the 8th of October, 2024. And I knew that this dip in interest rates was likely to happen, and I felt like we could get higher on the house. So when I lowered the price from $512, I only lowered it a couple $1,000, and we did offer $10,000 in concessions because in the market that we're in right now, most of these properties have concessions being offered. And it's pretty common, homes in this price range, in the $500,000 price range, for people to be paying $10,000, $15,000 in closing costs. And so you've got to recognize what people are doing. So on my listing here, what I did is I changed it. And let's take a look at that listing for just a minute here. Let me pull that up. Hopefully it won't take too long. And as we pull up my listing, let's just take a look at this. And you'll notice that I've got it under contract here. It went under contract 18 days after I had it listed. So I listed it on the September the 10th. I didn't list it so low that it would just go under contract immediately, although that can happen. You'll see the original listing price here. Hope I can make this big enough, was $512. We only dropped it a couple $1,000 and offered $10,000 in concessions, which I put down in my comments. And you get down in the comments here, and I said, hey, what a great house this is, because it's a wonderful home, that we're offering to pay $10,000 in concessions, because that's pretty typical in the market. Now, I want to be able to get as much as I can for my client. And in all honesty, one of the best ways that you can do this is to hire someone who really knows what they're doing, that knows the market, preferably that has appraisal experience. And I've got over 30 years as a certified appraiser. Needless to say, I think I know residential real estate pretty well. And even though I've taken quite a break the last few years to try to wake this nation up and save our freedoms, I've got to make a living again. And so if you have a horse property or a property that maybe is a short sale that you want to feature, have me feature here on utahforeclosures.com or on coloradoforeclosures.com, and really anywhere in the nation, you are welcome to call me, and I will help you find a real estate agent. If I don't help you myself in Utah and Colorado, I can help you myself really in Utah, but I've got a whole network of, what should I say, agents that are real estate agents and appraisers or former appraisers around the country. And I do interview agents to help people find agents that are going to help them get their most out of their property. Let's go back to this, because what happened here is we did get my listing under contract, and I got multiple offers. Wanted to make sure that they know that I've got multiple offers, and we even have other people that were interested in the property. But once I had, multiple offers, which included full price or over full price, and then maybe I should say full price and over full price, then I figured I was in a good position to be able to get the people the most out of this property. And one of them offered us, over full price. It's under contract now. But guess what's happening today? The appraiser is coming. So let's take a look at a few things that really need to be considered here so that I can help my client get the most out of this property. And like I said, I'm happy to interview agents around the country. You're welcome to get a hold of me if you go to utahforeclosures.com, a good place to find my number. It's 801-372-2360. And I'm happy to help people find a real estate agent and help you get the most out of your property. First of all, because of my appraisal experience, I recognize the county was incorrect on the square footage that they had listed, because it showed part of this square footage. If we look on the county records, I'm going to show you this here. On the county records, I looked at this, and this says there was 1,048 square feet above grade, right? Building area. And then it said the basement was 528 square feet. Well, guess what? I recognized right off. This property that I've got listed, it has, and let's just take a look at some of these pictures here, and I'm going to show you something. When we go to the backyard, not to mention from the front, but this property sits all the way above grade. You'll see in the family room here, this walks right out into the backyard. And when you look at the front of the house also, the house that I've got listed here, and I did put some pictures into the fruit trees and some of the fruit, but this walks out into the backyard. And when we look at the front, this is all above grade. Every bit of it is above grade. There is no basement here. Basement is valued less than the square footage above grade. And so I measured and rechecked the square footage here, and yeah, it's got the square footage the county said, but guess what? All of this 1,576 square feet is above grade. And some of the very similar properties are not all above grade. What else did I find out? Well, let's see. She has a new roof that was put on this home just in the last few years, a whole brand new roof that cost like $10,000. She also has a furnace, a new furnace in this house. Well, that's something the appraiser needs to know. And I spoke with the appraiser this morning. I do not want an appraiser going to inspect one of my client's properties without talking with me. And then just to make sure, since we have this under contract higher than a lot of somewhat similar homes have been under contract and sold for, what are the reasons for that? Well, one, because it's all above grade. One, it's got a new roof on it. It's also kept in immaculate condition. It's got a brand new furnace in it. Well, I want my client to get as much as she can out of the property. The buyer on this is borrowing some of the money, so they're getting an appraisal done. Well, guess what? I want the appraiser to talk to me, and I want the appraiser to have the best comparables possible. And since my client hired an appraiser of more than 30 years, she is going to get a good bang for her buck. And not just one of the 20,000, roughly 20,000 agents that there are in Utah. There are a few of us that have been appraisers for, well, I guess as full-time agents. I've been an appraiser for more than 30 years and an agent for more than 30 years, and I'm an agent full-time. I don't want to do appraisals anymore, but that doesn't mean that I can't be biased and help the appraiser see the reasons that we've got it under contract for the reasons for as much as we've got it under contract for. So I'm going to go into the MLS here. Now notice that my listing has 1,576 square feet above grade regardless of what the county records say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for properties that have some of the characteristics that mine has, like an appraiser would. Except I might do a better job than maybe a lot of appraisers would do, and certainly a better job than most agents are likely going to do in finding things here. So what I did is I did a search here, and some of the criteria that I put in. Well, I know it's got 1,576 square feet. I know that the agent, and it was built in 1998, hey, she could pull, the appraiser's a she in this case, because I spoke with her this morning. She might pull comparables that are as old as 20 years older or 20 years newer. So I pulled properties that were built from not only 1998, but clear back to 1980 up to 2023. I wanted to make sure that they are properties that are built, already standing, and I wanted to make sure that the square footage, because some of these properties might be ramblers, and they might have 1,500 square feet, 1,500 in the basement, right? So I want to make sure that we're pulling, that I'm looking to see if there's any comparables that have between 1,200 square feet, and where someone might look at something wrong, and since mine has 1,576 square feet, it's all above grade. I'm going down about 400 square feet and going up to almost double, right? Because I want to include those ramblers, because we want to make sure that we get the best comparables that are going to be most supportive of my clients, the price that we've got this under contract for. There's a reason we've got it under contract for this price, and I don't want the appraiser to be coming in low unless there's absolutely no legitimate way that they can get up to the value we've got this under contract for. And also the gross living area, I want stuff that's got between 1,200 square feet and 2,100 square feet of gross living area. And I'm looking at the properties first here that are active, under contract, and that are backup. And I've pulled 10 properties that are in the southwest part of Lehigh where this property is. So let's look at those, and we're going to do a little bit of comparing here. And what I did, I pulled those up, I selected them all, and I sorted those by the price per square foot. And guess what? When I sorted those by price per square foot, let me do that again. The third highest price per square foot, am I correct? Oh, it's not the third highest. Oh, yeah, it is. That's where we wanted it. Excuse me. When we looked at the price per square foot, the third highest price per square foot out of 10 properties here that are either active or under contract or under backup just happens to be my property. So there's two other properties here that are somewhat similar, that can work as comparables, that are also under contract, and guess what? They're a higher price per square foot than mine. So those are two properties I definitely want to take a better look at and see if those aren't comparables that the that the appraiser should be looking at. Here's another one, and I didn't want these properties, by the way, they need to be comparable, so they need to be on their own lots. And so when I look down here at the lot sizes, I wanted to make sure those are properties that have, since mine has a 1/4 acre, between 1/10 of an acre and 0.4. So I don't get any of those little properties that in PUDs that are just on a teeny little lot that are not comparable, nor stuff that are horse properties that go up over a 1/2 acre. So I've got 0.1 to 0.4. Again, we're going to look at those properties that I've got pulled up here and look at those a little bit more, because we want to find the ones that are really in good shape, that are comparable to the property that I've got for sale. So let's take a look at these, and I'm going to look at the full listings on these for just a minute. And these properties, this is what an appraiser goes through. Now, some of them may not do it exactly the same way as I'm doing it, but they might want to take a look at how I'm doing things to make sure that they don't short people on an appraisal, kill a deal, and get everybody mad at them, because they need to figure out why the properties are under contract for what they're under contract for. And that doesn't mean properties are always going to appraise for as much as they're under contract for. But I will tell you this, you know how to find me, utahforeclosures.com. I've only had one property come in low for an appraiser, one of my clients' properties that are selling, in over 30 years. And on that property years ago, I told my clients, I said, I know agents are probably telling you they can get maybe 225 out of this property, 220, 225. That was years ago. I said, I feel quite confident I can get 225 out of it, maybe 230, and I might even be able to get it under contract for 235 at that time, because I can feature it on LehighHomes.com. I can put signs out that say LehighHomes.com, but most importantly, I'm an appraiser of many years, and I can help the appraiser. And I looked it over and I said, I'm pretty sure I can help the appraiser get up to 230,000. But you know, I might be able to get it under contract for 235. Guess what happened? I got it under contract for 235, helped the appraiser in doing some research for them, got it up to 230, and got them a really good price out of their home. Appraiser came in at 230. We did have to renegotiate. That was the only time in 30 years that an appraiser came in lower on one of my properties. So is it worth it to give me a call to help you find an agent? If you have not determined who is going to be your real estate agent and you'd like my help in finding a real estate agent to help you, you are welcome to call me and I will help you do that. I get paid a referral fee when you use the agent that I recommend, but I need to make a living again, and so I want my 30 years of experience to be put to work in helping you get the most out of your property. So let's look further on these comparables. And so here's a comparable that's only got 1,630 square feet. It's got 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Mine has 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. And this is just a little bit bigger on the square footage above grade that mine is. And it was listed for $539, then lowered to $524.9. Guess what? This is a good listing comparable to use. And the appraiser will probably put a listing comparable in or two. Look at this next one. This is the same identical square footage as the one that I've got, and it is actively listed, and it's lower. Okay, it's lower, but this is one that she might want to use for another listing comparable. I wish it wasn't as low as it is. It looks like they lowered it down from $499. I don't think they should have done that. But then again, I might market the property different because this is a rambler, and I don't know. I'd like to think that I could have got them at least $499 out of that property if I had it listed, but I don't. And it is listed for sale. That might be a good one for someone to go and buy. And I've looked at the inside and stuff, the pictures of that before. If you want me representing you, helping you get that property, give me a call. Here's another one. This is another active listing, and it's got 1,700 square feet. And we're looking at these. Okay, now here's one that's under contract. Notice this has a few hundred square feet more, and it's all above grade, and it's built in 2000, so it's real similar in age. It's on a smaller lot than the property that I've got listed, and it's under contract. It was last listed for $500. I hope you can see this. It was last listed for $525,000. And it's under contract, so this is probably a really good property to put use for a comparable for those that are under contract. Here's another one, and this one is under contract. Again, it was listed $524, but it's a bit bigger. It's got 1,890 square feet. It is a split level. I don't consider those to be very good comparables. Split levels usually sell cheaper than ramblers and tri-levels in this area. So I don't consider that to be a very good comparable. And let's see, if I got these checked, because what I want to do is decide which ones I think are the best comparables that I want to send to the appraiser to make sure that they look at the comparables that I send them. Now this has more. It's listed for $560. It's another active listing. We want to find the properties that are under contract. This is way, way bigger. That's not a very good comparable at all. And where's that stuff that we had that was under contract now? Because that's what we really want to look at. And again, what order did I have these in? Yeah, this was one of the under contracts that $479, and I thought I still had these in order. Yeah. So this is an under contract worth looking at. Here's another under contract worth looking at. Those first two. That next one's the subject property. That's the one that I've got under contract right now that I'm helping represent the seller on. And here's an active listing. Yeah, this is a good listing comparable, really good listing comparable to use. And so those are some that I want to send her. I think when we got down to the next, yeah, maybe, although that's listed lower and it's active. Yeah, those are some that she might consider, but this one, yeah, I don't know why that isn't under contract or sold. So those first four, really three minus the one that I've got, are ones that I do want to send to the appraiser. So when I look these up again, and let me go back and pull those up one more time. Okay, got those listed that way. I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to grab that one. Of course, there's my subject property in this. And I want to send those to the appraiser. So I'm going to grab full reports. I'm going to send those to the appraiser, send listings, and who am I going to send those to? Well, I'm going to be sending those to the appraiser, and I've got her email. So I'm going to send those, and maybe I won't put her email in right there so you don't see, who that appraiser is. But I want to also look at solds. So let's go back, and I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to refine this search, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the status, and I'm going to look at solds. And when I do the same thing, put the same criteria and look at solds, 23 of those came up. But we want the recent stuff because that's what the appraiser needs to look at. And this is going back a year. Well, let's go back and just look at stuff that is sold in the last 4 months. That way, the last 120 days, and see what that takes us down to. There's 12. Okay, there's 12 of those. Let's take a look at those and see what they are. And because I want to help the appraiser, really, get up to the value where we're at, if possible, right? Or maybe the appraiser will come in higher than that. So I'm going to pull these up. I've got these sorted by the highest price per square foot. And remember, mine doesn't have a lot of square footage. We get into those great big ones. Those aren't really going to be the best comparables. When you get up 2,800, 27, 25, those are big. There's going to be too big of adjustments there. So let's take a look at these first ones and just see what we come up with. And so here's one that just sold a little over a month ago, right? And that's got 1,295 square feet. It sold, let's see, where is the sales price? It sold an original price, and where's the sales price on how much that thing sold for? Oh, that is the sold price right there. It was hiding anyway, or I didn't see it. $445. That's a very small property, but it is a very recent property, and that might make a real good comparable. But we'll see what else they've got. It's not too far away. It's down in the southwest part of Lehigh, and here's another one, southwest part of Lehigh, sold back in the early part of August for $479. So it's a little bit smaller, and it might make a better comparable than this one up here because it's closer in square footage. And guess what? It's got all that square footage above grade. That would probably make a really good comparable. I want to unselect these and select the ones that I want here. Okay. And by the way, the ages, we already know the ages on here, not too far off, probably real similar, probably in good condition, but I don't know that without going through all of it. And it'll be good for me to look at the details before giving this to the appraiser. Now this one's even closer in size, sold in August, and it looks like it sold for $484, and it looks like this is a multi-level house, and or maybe a two-story, but it's all above grade. It's got a two-car garage, and not not too bad. Not too bad for a comparable. Here's one that's 1,504 square feet. That's all above grade. That sold in August again. Sold for $479,900. Here's one. Now, this one the appraiser is bound to use for a comparable because it's the same model as the one that I sold. But this one probably, and I need to know the details on here so I can tell the appraiser, hey, there's a reason mine sold for more than this. One, the interest rates are probably a little bit lower right now than they were. Does the appraiser have the courage to make a time adjustment? Because they probably should. I'll mention that to the appraiser. And let's look at the condition on this thing. Quiet neighborhood, cozy, large window, da, da, da. I already know that this is a real similar property. In fact, it's just down the street from the one that I've got listed. But we've got lower interest rates than they had when this thing went under contract and when it sold in July. So the appraiser will most likely use this as one of the comparables. We already know that, and she's not going to ignore that. This one sold for $525,000. Guess what? A little bit bigger in square footage. Sold in June. This might make a good comparable. It's only a year older, a year newer than the property, and it's got almost a quarter acre. This is really a good comparable. Very important to give her. And this sold for $525,000. They also paid $10,000 in concessions on this. That is a comparable the appraiser should use, probably will use. Guess what? It's just a few blocks west, also on 400 South. So we'll make sure the appraiser knows that that's there and is able to use it. Here's another one. I don't like that low price for so much square footage, and I'm going to guess it's not as good a house. Here's another one in the same neighborhood, again, down the street. Sold in July, has quite a bit bigger square footage, and she'll be tempted to use that as a comparable, no doubt. But, again, these sold when the interest rates were a little bit higher. Now, here's a real recent one. Look at this. But it's got a full, great, big old basement, and it sold for quite a bit more. But again, it's all above grade, and that is a more recent sale. She really ought to use that because, again, this one is a real recent sale. I'd like to see if we have something a little bit better than that. There is no doubt that the appraiser might have a difficult time with the value getting up there. This is going to be helpful to her, and none of these are quite as recent as the one that I've got there. So, and we want to be fair with the appraiser, and so that's why I'm looking at these and trying to help the appraiser. Now, there's one thing that I didn't do, and that's look in the northeast part of town, but I think we've got several comparables here that can be used, and so yeah, the appraiser's got to look at that, and she'll look at this because it's recent. It's only a few blocks away, and I need to know the details. I need to know the details on these homes to know why these sold for different amounts than they did. Why they sold, for example, lower price per square foot than mine. Well, I'm sure if I make some calls, I can probably find out, and I will make those calls. And these agents are likely to talk to me because I'm a certified appraiser and have been for a long time. So they'll probably take my call, or if I text them, give me a call back. The good agents will. The lazy agents sometimes don't call you back, and they don't want to do any more than they have to do. And it's like, oh, I'm not getting paid to do this, so they don't call back. But since I interviewed hundreds of agents here in the state, I've actually talked with thousands about the properties that they've sold. A good chance that some of them will know my name, give me a call back. Hopefully the best agents are going to answer their phone or call right back regardless. And I always call people back. If I don't answer the phone, I call them back. Depends on if I hear their call. And I'm not talking to someone else, I definitely answer their phone. Very few exceptions to that. Usually only if I'm busy doing something else and I need to call them back. So I'll find out the details on these so that I can say, hey, by the way, this home that sold here that was smaller. I'm going to look through the photos, go through all those. I don't want to make this an extremely long video, but I'm going to look through these photos and I'm going to figure out why these homes sold for more or less than the property that I've got listed. And the appraiser will realize, oh wow, this guy, not only is he an appraiser, but he's done more work, more research on it than I did, and it'll make him less likely to be coming in low on my property. One, because I've done the research and I'm going to be knowledgeable when I talk with the appraiser. I know what I'm talking about as an appraiser, and I've taken the time to call on all these. And most appraisers may not really. They better think, hey, wait, what am I missing here? Instead of I've just got to hurry and get done. What am I missing? Because this agent is a certified appraiser. He's got multiple full price offers or above. And the one that she's appraising it for is the offer that is a good offer that is above our full price. And he knows all about these comparables because he's called, I better look into this because I don't want to be coming in low and then having killed the deal, have it reappraised by someone else buying the property and have a chance that they'll come in even higher and really make that appraiser look bad. If the appraiser does their job, they're going to see why I've got it under contract for what I do. And they may have to really do a little bit extra work on this. Well, that's exactly what I want the appraiser to do because I've done a lot of extra work to get my client the best price on this property. So if you want to get the best price on your properties, you're welcome to call me. My name is Rod DeGel, appraiser broker on YouTube, and you can reach me on my cell at 801-372-2360. Only call me if you'll honestly consider either using me or using an agent that I find for you. And if you do that much, I'll be happy to spend the time for you. So this is Rod, the appraiser broker, and have a wonderful day.